Stanley, Scuba, Sailing, and Adventures. I appreciate you being here with me to log another entry in the travel journal. If this is your first time, please hit that subscribe button. Today we'll be scuba diving the Bahamas, Exuma Islands, Barracuda Shoals. This is day 1, dive 3 of this week-long liveaboard dive trip in the Bahamas, leaving from Nassau, cruising through the Exumas, Eleuthera, and returning to Nassau. This was a little bit longer dive for me. The dive started just about 3:30 in the afternoon and lasted approximately an hour and 10 minutes. A fairly shallow dive. I recorded an average depth of 23 feet and a maximum depth of 30 feet. This is December in the Bahamas, and the average water temperature on this dive was 78 degrees Fahrenheit. As I mentioned, this dive was a little bit longer than my normal dives at an hour and 10 minutes. I ended up shooting quite a bit of video, and this video will be a little bit longer than some of my other videos as a result. As I started to go through and review it, it turned out there was what I thought a lot of good footage. Of course, there were a couple reef sharks because it's the Bahamas. Quite a healthy shark population. See, we have 2 here. We had a couple good-sized groupers. And just a lot going on this dive site. I usually like to plot all my dive sites on paper charts. I just think it's interesting to look at the depth contours of the water and the coral formations and think about what other places might be interesting to dive based on the depth contours that I see on charts. I'll make an introductory video at the end of the dive series. I know that sounds a little backwards, but that's the way I'm doing it. And I will show the charts and review these different places and the Exumas and Eleuthera and point out approximately where the dive sites are. I say approximately because I usually get the latitude and longitude from my Descent Garmin dive watch. Dive computer, it's air integrated. But for whatever reason this time, it didn't record any of the entry sites. And I think perhaps that was because I was diving with the wetsuit and had the watch underneath the wetsuit. So I'm not sure it got the satellite reading just before I entered the water. I suspect that's what happened because I've had it for several years now, and this is the only time that has happened. I hadn't intended to wear as thick of a wetsuit as I did. I think I mentioned in the first video, I brought my shark skin titanium tube, and I thought that would be warm enough for this time of year, but it wasn't. I was quite chilled, so I ended up renting a 5mm wetsuit. As a result, I didn't bring the longer wrist strap for the descent because I didn't think I'd be needing it, right? Because I usually just roll back the sleeve on the shark skin. Anyway, I think that was the issue with the garment. But nonetheless, I looked up the dive sites in books and online and approximated where they are on the charts. So I will absolutely go over all of that in that introductory video, which will be the first video when I put these all into a playlist. I've always enjoyed the Bahamas and made many, actually very many, trips to the Bahamas over the years. And I think my first real ocean dive was actually in the Bahamas. But gosh, that's been a long time ago. I guess I could check the dive log, but I'm 99% sure it was. And I still do log all of my dives on paper. I've changed dive computers over the years and found it disconcerting when they have different apps and you can't migrate all of your dives electronically into one place. So diving 40 plus years now, and yes, there is a paper log dive for every dive I've ever made. And I don't record a lot of information most of the time now. It's just the statistics on the dive, the metrics, the depth, etc., time, air consumption. Part of that is because I do so much video now. I don't feel like I need to log everything as well, what I saw or what I experienced. Honestly, now I try to make a video for every dive. Even if it's very, very short, I try to make a video for each dive. Try being the operative word. This is a beautiful dive site. This is what I think of when I think of the Bahamas. I'm not going to narrate this entire dive because this video is a little bit longer and I'm sure you don't want to listen to that. Let's enjoy some music, enjoy the dive, and maybe even think about this as slow TV. I don't know how you enjoy dive videos, but that's how I tend to enjoy them, as just kind of in the background. As a side note, I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't do mid-roll ads. So you can absolutely uncheck that box. So if you're seeing ads in the middle of my videos, please let me know. It's not about getting paid or trying to run ads. I do this because I enjoy it. So mid-roll ads annoy me in something like this that's supposed to be peaceful and relaxing. So again, let me know if they're still running because they shouldn't be. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.